Hey guys, it's Ryan from AMS, and we're here with Jason Richardson at the Music Man Enclave. I don't even know if this is a booth. We're off the floor.
It's great.
It's a beautiful thing. And you're fresh from, he was out at the booth shredding for about 9 billion people. So coming back up here must have felt good.
Yes, it's my safe haven, like coming up here. It's quiet and you just get to escape for a second because NAMM's chaos. It's fun, but it's chaos.
It is fun and it is chaotic, and that is actually a good thing for the industry. So we like that. But, you know, when we knew we were coming over to talk to you guys, we were down there amongst the throng, and one of the guys looked up, they're like, oh, I could see Rabia in that because you could just see the hair. So we thought, okay, now
he
we know.
Stands out.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He does that on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're like, okay, we know where to go. So coming up here has been nice for us as well. So I got a chance to touch that and play it a little bit. But I'm not a 7-string guy.
It comes in a 6-string form too.
Oh, so I could do that.
Yeah.
How about a 5?
No.
We're not going to do that. But you thought about it for a second. Like, that's not a bad idea.
I feel like I've seen a 5-string guitar. Doesn't the Jacob Collier guy have a 5-string one?
He has a Strandberg.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw that today, and it just confused me as much as a 6-string. So
that sounds like a personal problem.
Yeah, I have a lot of those. We can talk about them later. But is 7 home for you? Is that like where you feel most comfortable, or?
That's what I use for the most part. Yeah. I do use 6 strings periodically, but for like all my solo stuff, it's primarily just 7 and 8 every now and then too. Right. But I wouldn't be opposed to writing some 6-string stuff for my solo stuff ever. It's just makes you think differently, like because you have different constraints. So the way that you approach writing on the instrument, it's just different.
Got it. That's like a different paintbrush, essentially. Yeah. So tell us about, like, obviously, you know, we were talking to some of the other guys. Working with Music Man must be a real dream in the sense that you go, okay, this is what I want to do, and I don't know how often they're going to tell you no.
I had a couple ideas for this thing initially, and I don't think no is the right word. They just figured out how to do it better.
Okay.
Yeah. So like my initial idea for this involved like a second switch and like all of this stuff. And Drew, the engineer, he was able to figure out a much more streamlined and efficient version to do the same exact thing that I had in my head, essentially. So what we got, obviously toggle, volume, tone, and the main thing about mine that I like that's different because I was playing the JPs before I had my own signature, and in order to activate the tap, you had to at least live in the moment. You would have to put the switch in the middle and then do that in order to activate the coil tap. Right. So I wanted just one less motion for live
in the heat of the moment.
Yeah. It's just one less thing to do to get to that sound. So now it's just you just put it in the middle. It's just coil tap.
Yeah, because it was, I mean, I have a Cutlass, and it was just funny looking at this. It just seems like it's just a different animal, even though it's kind of from the same DNA as the typical Cutlass. But I mean, there seems to be a lot more tricks to that than just, fancy finish. Well, what other kind of aspects were you looking for when they went and built one for you?
So the finish out the toggle controls here. It's so when the tone knob is up, it's actually goes full single coil mode. So it can switch back and forth between humbucking and single coil, like a Strat, and then just like a Les Paul kind of thing.
Gotcha.
So when it's up, this is just the bottom coil, just top coil, and then back to coil tap again.
Oh, okay.
And then this has a boost as well.
And those are push-push or push-pull?
Push-push.
That's great.
Yep, it's great.
You don't
I love it. Yep.
Struggle with it, yeah.
One less motion to do live.
Well, and that's it. I mean, the music that you play is pretty high octane, so a fraction of a second can make a huge difference.
Yes, it can. Yeah, it definitely can. And another thing, this has got a lot more access too than I found from a lot of guitars. Like I have you can just get right up there and no issues whatsoever. And I can't remember whose idea it was. It was either Sterling or Drew. They took shaved the back horn down a little bit, just take a little bit of weight off, and just a little bit more less for your hand to bump into when you're down here or up here on the really high frets.
That makes sense. Is stainless frets, or are they?
Yes.
No, because some people are vehemently for that or against it. I don't notice a tonal difference myself. To me, the benefit of a stainless steel fret is like it's on there. I don't have to do anything with it. It's never going to wear out. Yep. But it could wear out strings more often. But you get new strings. Who cares?
Yep. I get them for free too, so I don't have to worry about that.
Who makes them?
Ernie Ball.
Oh, they're the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But yeah, it's definitely a weird feeling having this.
Weird in what way?
Well, I grew up a massive Dream Theater fan and was playing Music Man for years because of John, and then now I have my own signature. And I think I was the second person ever to have a 7-string on the roster. So that's just a strange concept. still for me as
Yeah,
well.
well, it's A, you earned it, but B,
Thanks.
you know, well, you did, and on the top of it, they go, look, we want you to be an artist for us. We want to make it the way you want it. I mean, you can't see yourself leaving that. Who would leave that kind of relationship where it's, you know,
Never.
it's symbiotic, whatever that means.
Mutually beneficial for both parties, I believe.
Really good. So what are we doing after the show? What does 2025 hold?
My band's about to drop a new album in a week, and then I also have a couple solo things in the pipeline that are finished.
Really? How do you decide when those come out without them conflicting? Is it just someone at the label says something, or do you just?
Well, technically, both don't have a label.
Okay.
Which is like my own stuff is independent. I do it on my own. And I have one thing finished right now. It's a John Williams cover that I'm very proud of, and it was insanely hard to figure out. And it's done. The music's done. Like, it's tracked. I just have to relearn it now, which is gonna suck because
To play it live?
Yeah. So I can do a video for it and then put the the whole package and all that stuff and release a song. It'll be this year for sure.
How do you come to obviously being prolific and writing your own material, when you decide to do a cover like that, is it more like this is Mount Everest, I want to see if I can climb it? Or
exactly. Yeah. I bought the conductor book of the score and just read everything and recreated the whole orchestra from the ground up on my computer. Because you have to do that in order to legally upload it for streaming. Cover has to be all original. You can't just take the London Symphony recording, put bass guitar and drums on it, and then be like, yeah. Like, that's super not okay to do.
Not without getting sued.
Exactly. Yeah. So the platform I use, DistroKid, like, they handle all the licensing and stuff like that for covers and stuff. So I don't know what it's going to cost yet. I'm sure it's not going to be a cheap one, being owned by Universal and all of that kind of stuff. So I'll cross that bridge when we get there, but it'll be soon. And yeah, that's going to be coming out this year for sure.
And I think that's something that's kind of lost in the mix there too. Being a good musician, being a great guitar player, but also kind of forging your own brand. Like, it seems to me like you do a lot of just stuff that's all in-house, as much as you could possibly make it.
Yep.
How did that come about? How did you know enough to do that? Or is it just being stubborn?
Probably stubborn and mostly just curious and just wanting to know how to do it. And then it just starts snowballing. Like, once you start, getting better at one thing, it's just, everything just starts falling into place and you keep figuring it out better and better. Like Pro Tools and things like that, just like actually being able to do all that stuff on the computer. Cause it's like, if you don't know how to do it, then you're going to pay someone. So it's like, why not try and be as good as you can at it to record your own stuff?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And have you seen any other players at the show that you were like, you ever steal stuff from people and try and incorporate it into your own playing?
Oh yeah, for sure, all the time.
Yeah. Anybody like, aside from John Petrucci, anyone that we would be surprised to hear? Like, oh, actually,
well, it's not surprising, but I think I blatantly ripped off Dark Knight French horn thing from Hans Zimmer in Tendinitis.
Okay,
going from the D to the F. I was like, I mean, if you know what to listen, well, people that see this, they're going to go and listen. They're like, oh yeah, that's obvious, very obvious, but you can't copyright a minor third, so.
That's good.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, it's different enough, obviously, but it's definitely inspired by 100% for sure.
That sounds to me then like, with the Hans Zimmer, with the John Williams, something like you should be scoring films. I would think that.
I'm hoping that's my next step. I want to be doing things like that for sure.
You ever watch a movie and go, oh, they totally screwed it. Like, the music, if they had done it this way, would have been.
No, nothing recently.
No,
at least, yeah, nothing recently. Why have you?
Oh, all the time.
Like what?
I can't say. I don't want to offend anybody.
Fair.
I could tell you off camera, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah. No, but I would think that seems like the next logical step for you. I mean,
yeah, I'm working on it. I don't want to jinx anything, but my friend did introduce me to a very well-known film composer recently, and I'm hoping that something ends up happening to that this year.
Okay.
I don't want to say who or anything like that. I don't want to jinx it because I've already talked to a different one who's all very successful, and that didn't end up happening yet.
Okay.
Yet.
Keyword.
So,
well,
I think it's going to happen. So I'm not worried. I just got to keep doing what I've been doing, and I think it'll eventually click.
Okay. There's time.
Yes. I'm only 33, so I still got. I think John Williams wrote Hedwig's theme, the song that I'm covering, when he was like 70. So I got plenty of time.
Yeah. Just notes. How hard could it be?
Yeah.
So any thoughts on newer finishes, any new models, anything exciting coming up with Music Man? Or are you just like, this is it, I love this and I don't need to change a thing?
Well, I don't know. Am I allowed to say?
But
well, it just started getting like the idea tossed around like a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's still like a new idea. But yeah, this is going to be an 8 at some point soon.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So
6, 7, and 8.
Mm-hmm.
And we asked John the same thing. I mean, why not go 9?
That's just overkill.
Is it
I've played one before, and it's just like, I don't know. Would it be another higher string, or
I suppose you
another
could. You could do
lower
like a
one?
high A or like a.
Well, it's gonna start getting to like $7,000, $8,000 guitars too. At that point, it's just like,
what's the point?
that's I mean, I don't know. 8's plenty for me. I don't want to go past 8 personally.
Okay. Yeah.
Start getting like harp status like at that point.
But the thought is pretty cool though if you think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I just there's not really much of a market for 9 strings in my opinion. I don't see too many guys with those.
There probably shouldn't be. Well, and that's the funny thing too. Every time the beauty of being with Music Man is you've got Ernie Ball too. So it's like, what strings do I use? It's like, well, they'll just make you a set that works. So I don't think there's a slinky that doesn't exist anymore.
I feel like our bass player, my friends with Dingwalls, we need to get a more tapered string for them.
Are they listening?
To fit in those.
So you're hitting the road when?
Well, there's a couple festivals my band confirmed in spring, so hopefully those end up still happening. But other than that, nothing hard on the calendar right now.
And it seems to me, obviously being so into the studio and the recording process, do you find that, I mean, obviously playing live can be a thrill, but do you feel most at home in a studio or home where you just can constantly just get ideas out? Or
a little bit of both.
Yeah.
I would say it's a little bit of both. It's hard. It's practically impossible to write on the road, for me at least.
Okay.
Like I've written like riffs and stuff before, but to actually get a fully fleshed out idea, that doesn't end up usually panning out. Because there's so many distractions and like different environments and like, I don't know, it's just a little chaotic. It'd be like, well, not exactly the same, but I don't know, go write something down there.
Yeah, good luck. This is called cacophony.
Yeah, it's not gonna work too well. There's some distractions for sure.
But that's probably a good template for somebody when you go, look, like I'm on the road. You kind of consciously say I'm not going to write because it's too chaotic. But if there's an idea that just keeps hammering in your brain, you're like, there's a reason it's there.
Yep. Oh, I actually think I did. Completely antithetical to everything I just said, but the my August Burns Red feature that I have, I wrote that on tour.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just a solo though. Like I didn't have to do like any of my like production or like write a song. And they were just like, here's this part, and I was like, all right, cool, and I just put a solo over it.
And thankfully,
that's a little more straightforward.
But I mean, there's so much technology now too. Like if you have an idea, whether you're humming it into your phone or you could have a Spark or just something on the bus or whatever. It's like, well, at least you can have that idea because we all have that where we go, oh, this is so great, I'll remember it, and then you're like, oh man, I completely forgot it.
Yep. So I'm about to have to experience that right now when I refigure out that John Williams thing, the whole 5-minute piece, because it doesn't repeat really at all, like throughout the whole thing.
How many BPM is that?
It changes, and it's actually way slower than you'd think. It's like 58 at like dotted eighth.
Well, sometimes
then it's like 30-second notes. So
sometimes playing fast though, when you're because it flies by so quickly, it's almost easier. And when you have to kind of pull back and really lean into a phrase that's not as fast as you think, it can be a little harder. I think people have tough times slowing down when they play guitar.
Yes. I mean, there was when I was still learning how to play guitar, the middle ground tempos were harder for me to lock in than super fast or really slow. Yeah. It's like a mid pace, maybe like, I don't know, like 16ths at like 130 or 140, where it's not like that's still quick, but it's not, like blazing shred fast. Right. So it's like, but just keeping the evenness of that, like it was just very difficult to get down at first.
So where do we go from that, in the sense that when I turn on, YouTube, there's like these kids that are like 9 years old and they're just shredding like Paganini, and you're like, but you know what I mean? It's great. I think it's great that everybody has that, but after a while you have to say to yourself, are they just regurgitating something, or is it music? When you see that this flawless generation of players now, I mean, how do you see that influencing how music is made?
That's a tough question. I do think people need to focus on like catchy stuff, like the actual things that's going to stick in people's heads, right? And not just sportsmanship. Like it's cool to be able to do that. I've obviously built my name on playing guitar really fast, and I'm never going to stop doing it. But there's definitely everything needs dynamics. Like it can't be like your only thing, because that just gets a little boring and redundant after a while, in my opinion. At least.
Totally agree.
Yeah. So having something to like gravitate towards, because even like the John Williams stuff, for example, like there's always the main motif that you're hearing, but like behind it, he might be doing something that's just like the most chaotic, like 30-second note line you've ever heard. But it's just like people, like I put a video up of playing one of those sections, and people were commenting saying like, I didn't even realize that was happening in the song.
But then you can't unhear it.
Yeah, because it's just kind of like this like magical texture kind of in the background, but your ears are focused on like the actual melody of that main theme happening, not the chaos that the violins, celeste, and all that stuff are doing behind, that are just this like elegant, moving, flowing kind of sound.
Well, that's the fun part too. I think sometimes when you isolate a track and you hear something like, I never knew that was there, and then when you, like you say, you can't unhear it. And I think that's almost above and beyond than being a musician, is having great ears for something and going, this has to be, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's hard to explain why a minor chord sounds sad or something like that, but it just does. And I would imagine that's part of the fun of it.
Yep. I have one friend who's like, I know that minor means sad, but I don't hear it that way for some reason.
Okay.
Yeah. I was like, I don't really know how else to explain it other than that.
Well, there you
for
go.
me, it just kind of like when I was learning music theory, it just kind of like, that sounds happy, major sounds happy, minor sounds sad. And it just made sense.
It's an established fact.
Yes,
at
it
that
is.
point.
It is.
So do you have to go back out there and shred for the masses, or are you done now?
No, I'm done playing, fortunately. Yeah. My songs are hard. They stress me out.
All right. Well, we appreciate you even coming back up here and talking to us. After that.
Definitely.
You must be exhausted.
But mostly just because I didn't sleep well last night.
Yeah.
Not from playing for 15 minutes.
That's a recurring theme. We've been talking about a lack of sleep here. So believe me, I get it. And we really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.
Yeah, definitely.
Guitar looks slamming.
Yes, it does. I'm going to have to agree.
Yeah.
I'm biased, but it does look pretty cool.
You ever just look across the room and go, that's mine? Like,
yeah.
It must blow your mind. It must blow your mind.
Yeah, it kind of does. Especially when I walk into my studio and there's like 30 of them.
Yeah.
You know, you're just like,
how did I get here?
Yeah, exactly. Well, they accumulated. It didn't happen all at once. I haven't gotten rid of a single one.
Well, we all have that problem.
Yeah.
This is the last guitar I'm going to buy. I'm done. I want that one.
Well, I fortunately don't have to buy them anymore either. I'm spoiled. They spoil me. I think I'm pushing 40 now, like guitars.
40 guitars?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like 39.
Which means you have to go to 50.
Exactly. I'll get there. I'll get there.
Well, go around and go check
I'll
out
probably
some
get like
guitars.
4 more next year.
Yeah.
So it'll just keep happening.
Is that crazy to get 4 more guitars?
Yeah.
Probably. What?
7, 8, a new color.
Yeah. So maybe I'll get 6 because
Because why not?
Yeah. Well, I mean 6, 7, and 8. If there's 2 new colors, that's 6 guitars. I got to plug them. So
You heard it here first.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, man.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.